one of the things that you said that really stuck out to me was this show will probably make you think about everyone you have ever dated. And I'm curious for you, just how did you maybe start reevaluating your own past when you were starting to film?
You first.
Oh, I do every time I watch something like this. You're like, oh, what are they up to right now? And
Yeah,
then
yeah, yeah.
you do the little Facebook search and you're like, ooh.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, it's really hard not to make off-color jokes doing press for this show, but yeah, I mean, I think it is interesting. I am not a method actor at all, but inevitably, definitely I would say like halfway through filming, I really started to wow, think about the ones who got away or like
Hmm.
ones who were really close and you don't exactly know why that didn't work out. And I, I think what's really exciting, this show is really funny and wild and very surprising, but we've been hearing so much feedback about people really like opening that can of worms and reflecting on like what worked and what didn't work. And,
Hmm.
you know, that's entertainment, honey. What
Exactly.
else do you
That's why
want?
we're here.
What else do you go to your TV screen for?
Exactly. Or to remind me of all my
Your,
bad exes.
yeah, exactly.
And hopefully some good ones.
And if you're watching on your computer, you can like watch it and Facebook at the same time for your
Perfect.
convenience.
And I think one thing that also came up a lot is you guys can, calling this a fucked up rom-com,
Yeah.
which I love. Just what are some of the rom-coms that maybe you loved growing up? And, obviously a lot of them maybe don't hold up now, but I think they all still have a special
Totally.
place in our heart.
Well, When Harry Met Sally is really one of my favorites. Um, every, yeah, just if I ever need a pick me up, that's just one that I really, it's the one.
Hmm.
And I would also say this came up because, yeah, during the shoot, I would watch a rom com every Saturday just to sort of like keep in the pocket. And um, it's not really a rom-com, but I loved Bruce Almighty and I remember it as a rom-com. And there's like a very strong, there's a moment where Jim Carrey is in heaven to Morgan Freeman, obviously, and he's like has this beautiful monologue about Jennifer Aniston who's in it. And I don't remember how old I was when I watched it, but I just remember weeping. I was like, that is the best love story I've ever seen. So Bruce Almighty, I guess, is another good one.
That's a good one. And for you being, I know you've said this is the first time you were number one on a call sheet, which I know that alone has to come with some added pressure, expectations. Just what did you kind of do to maybe help set the mood on set, knowing that everyone is kind of looking to you?
Well, that part actually was the easy part, right? Like hosting the dinner party was the fun part of like, hey, we had like every Friday we came up with this like theme Friday dress up where the entire crew would dress up. The first one, Zasha and I came up with was dress like your grandparent Friday, and then the winner would get to choose next week's theme. And it got really crazy. Like
That's
we
fun.
had one week that was like dressed like someone else on set and there was like five Nanachkas, there's like six Rubies, Zashas, AJs. That was one of our DPs was a three-time ski Olympian, so someone came in as a ski Olympian, as Andy as a ski Olympian. It was like amazing and wild.
That's
So that part
awesome.
was amazing, like to get to be like, hey, as someone who holds a certain form of like power or space in this space, I want to like give it all to you. That part was so amazing. And then I think in the creative process, like you have to put all that away. You have to put the script notes away. You have to put the producerial discussions away. And then you show up on set and then you have to just like be an actor. I think, I've been thinking about how when you start to do more and more work that is more visible, you form a public body of work and it can feel scarier to take big swings and more vulnerable to try something new. And my job as an actor, creative storyteller is to take swings and to just tell stories, make mistakes, make it messy, do the best that I can to honor what I believe is good, but it's it's not my job to be perfect. And so I
Yeah.
think that's the hardest part is like really getting rid of that and allowing yourself to trust the process. And luckily the entire cast is so amazing. Nanachka and Sally are so amazing that it really allowed, I think, all of us to trust fall into making this show.
I was gonna say, is there, from being in other films where maybe, obviously you weren't number one, just were there people that maybe you are trying to model yourself after, or you took as like a good example?
I've luckily worked with all incredible people, but I would definitely will say that working with the Daniels on Everything Everywhere, that sense of we had warm ups every morning, gave out awards on Fridays, that really showed me how far that spirit can go. Um, and then I do remember very early on my first kind of series recurring role. When I was just sort of starting out, Aaron Paul was the lead of this show called The Path. And
Mm,
he was so kind after the great success of Breaking Bad and so kind and so human. I just remember that was the first time working on a show, period. And I was like, if I ever get to be number one, like that's how you do it.
mm. That's nice. I think people like to hear that. Well, thank you for speaking today. I can't wait to watch the rest of the show. I loved what I've seen so far. So
Thank you.
congrats to you all.
Thank you so much.